All right. So um, the homework has an assignment in there, and it's talking about R. And what is R? You may be asking. Well, it's a good question. So R is the letter chosen to represent what they call the correlation coefficient. Oops, upside down. So what that means is that it is a measurement of how strong the correlation possibly is. And you get that in the same way, or using the same data that you use to get the line of regression, that equation. And we'll go through that as well. But one note is that the value for R ranges from -1 to +1. Won't be any lower than -1, and won't be any higher than +1. So the closer R is to +1, the stronger the positive correlation is between the two variables. So this would be close to +1. The closer R is to -1, the stronger the negative correlation is. So this would be R close to -1. If you have R being close to 0, then that means you have a very weak or no correlation. So something like this would be R close to 0. Okay. So, and then it's anything in between +1 and -1. Something like this, would be still positive, but it wouldn't be very close or super close to 1. It might be 0.5, it might be 0.75, something like that. The same with this. It's not going to be super close to -1, but it won't be too bad, like -0.75 or something like that. So in order to calculate R, it's horrible to do it by hand, so that's why we use technology. The same website that we got the line of regression also has the correlation coefficient calculator. So I've already done it in an actual calculator, so we're going to use that data from our previous example. So in our previous stuff we talked about, we had the number of absences in the final grade. This is our X, this is our Y. And we're going to put that into our calculator or the website and get that R value. So using the calculator, again, just for demonstration purposes about what it looks like. Here we have, we get an R squared value, but that's not what we look at. We look at R, just the R value. So we get R equals -0.98 from that absences and final grade data. So if we look at our graph that we had, that's why it's just very close to -1, because it falls very pretty close line, right? It's not dots all over the place. So since we have -9.98, we can say that the number of absences has a strong negative correlation to a student's grade. Okay, and always throw this in there because, again, one thing is you want to be careful about correlation is not the same as causation. You can always group two data sets together and make it look like one causes the other. This is data taken from, the internet. But here we see Internet Explorer versus murder rate. And what do we notice as time goes here, right? Internet Explorer market share. So we see that fewer people, these bars are showing Internet Explorer usage. So that's going down. Murders in the United States, shown by that line, we see that that's also going down, okay? So does that mean that Internet Explorer usage, the decrease of people using Internet Explorer instead of like Google or Firefox caused a decrease in the murder rate in the United States? Probably not. It was just happenstance that those two data sets were both decreasing. And then here you also see people wanting to make relationships that may not always be. We see here that the year's kind of hard to see, but it's going up. It's 1997 up to 2009. And it's the tabulating the rates of autism and organic food sales, right? So here it says R equals 0.9971. So very close to a +1, right? So does it really mean that as more people started eating organic food, more people, usually children, diagnosed with autism? So does eating organic food cause autism? One would gather to say no. Of course, you know, people want to say, well, look, these two things, like, they're correlated. It's so strong. It's so positive or positive related. Doesn't mean one causes the other, right? It just happens that people became more aware of healthy food choices, healthier food choices, and also diagnoses of autism also expanded to incorporate a lot more behaviors. So, word to the wise on that, be careful. And the next thing we're going to talk about is doing what we would have done in class with a hypothesis test for R. The next video, I'm going to set that up and then explain how the homework represents that. Okay. See you pretty soon.